So you're thinking of buying a home in 2025 in Tampa, Florida. I believe that there are some red flags that you should be looking out for. Why am I talking about red flags today? Because we have gone through two major hurricanes in Tampa, Florida. Towards the end of 2024, we had Hurricane Helene, we had Hurricane Milton, we had a lot of floodings that took place. And so I just want to make sure that when you're purchasing a home, that you are looking out for some potential red flags before you close on the deal, because you don't want to buy a house and inherit a headache. You don't want to buy a house and inherit a problem. So before you actually close on the deal, make sure that you are paying careful attention to some of the red flags that I'm going to mention for you, mainly because, again, we have been through two hurricanes. So you want to pay attention to that. So the first red flag that I think that you want to pay attention to is water damage. Look for any signs of water damage in the house. Stains, discolorization, warping walls, ceilings, floors, musky smells, or signs of mold or mildew. You want to be paying attention to that. You want to pay attention to the foundation. Look for cracks in the foundation. Look for cracks in the walls. Look for cracks on the floors and, unevenness in the floor. Windows and doors, all of these things can be affected, and you can tell signs. You can see the signs by sometimes your door is not hinged well. The windows might have spaces and cracks in them. They might look like they don't have enough suction. So you want to be really looking at this. Look for electrical problems, rust or corrosion in the electrical panel, exposed or poorly repaired wiring. Pay attention to that. Roof damage. This is a big one because to replace a roof, it's going to cost a lot of money. So look at the roof. Missing, curled, or broken shingles, evidence of leaks or water stains in the attic. Don't just let that go. If you see, because sometimes sellers will say things like, oh, there was a leak and we fixed it, but there's still a big stain in the ceiling. So you want to make sure that you are not just, skimming over it. You want to make sure that you're really doing an in-depth inspection when you're buying the house. Look for flooding history. So check for water lines, because that's like one of the sure signs that a property has flooded. You can see the water lines on the outside of the house. Sometimes when people say, well, I'm not in a flood zone. Well, but your property, it kind of shows that you had a flood at some point, right? This stains, this water line doesn't just show up, right? So you want to look for that. If you see signs of flooding, or if they tell you there was a flood and they've done repairs, or if there's some form of damage and they've done repairs, you want to get receipts. You want to get before and after pictures. You want to make sure that the work that they're saying that they've done is done up to code. So you want to make sure that you're doing all of this. Check the HVAC system. Make sure there's no rust, make sure there's no corrosion or damage to the heating or cooling system. Ask the age of the system, if it was replaced, when it was replaced, if they have any warranty on it. You want to make sure that you are getting all of this information before you close on the deal. If you close on the house with a bad AC, especially if it was made aware to you that this is old and it needs to be replaced, and you say, because the seller said, oh, it's working and we don't need to fix it, and we had it serviced, because they will tell you stuff like that. Oh, we had it serviced and everything is good. If you see that red flag when you do your inspection and your inspector tells you you need to pay attention to the HVAC system, you need to pay attention to the AC system, the water heater, pay attention to this system, because these are not cheap fixes. They're not cheap fixes at all. One of the other red flags that I really want you to pay attention to is seller's disclosure. You will find many instances right now when you go, you see a house that you like you like, and you call the agent and you say, hey, there's no disclosure in there. And usually they say, well, the seller never occupied the property. I am one that totally believes if you own the house for more than a year, you know what's going on with the house. I mean, nobody just buys a house and forgets about it and just move on, especially if you're a landlord. If you are renting your house, you know good and well what's going on with the house. Who do the renters call when something doesn't work? Who do they call when the plumbing breaks? Who do they call when the water heater stops working? Who do they call when, the AC is not blowing? Who do they call? So don't tell me that you don't know what's happening in the house. I think it's a cop out, but that's just me. Sellers do that. They give you the seller disclosure that says seller has never occupied the property and just expected to take the property as is. If you're looking at a property that does not have a seller's disclosure, you want to make sure you're getting the longest inspection period possible when you're writing that offer. Time frame, which is another red flag that you should be paying attention to when you are purchasing a home. Everything is feeling rush, rush, rush. The seller wants the shortest period of time for inspection, shortest period of time for financing, shortest period of time for closing. Everything is rushed. You feel like you can't even breathe because everything is like bam, bam, bam. And granted, I know every situation is not the same. There are instances where a seller is moving on to the next phase or to the next chapter of their life. There are instances when they have to get to another state or another city because they have a new job or because of school or whatever the case may be. Or they might already be under contract on another house and they need their house to close so the one that they're under contract can close. And that is totally understandable. But usually when you are feeling rushed, there's a huge possibility that mistakes can happen. There's a huge possibility that you might overlook something that you shouldn't have overlooked. There's a huge possibility that you're not crossing all your T's and you're not dotting all your I's because you are rushed. So this is a big red flag. If you are feeling rushed, for you to take a step back and breathe and for you to reanalyze what you're doing and really take a closer look at the property that you are fixing to close upon. When you are rushed and you're making decisions when you're rushed, 99% of the time we're making the wrong one because we're rushed. And it's not just you, it's just people in general. Check for drainage issues. Poor grading around the property. Sometimes it can cause water to just sit, and then your yard is always soggy, which makes it more prone to having sinkholes. So you do want to be checking the drainage and make sure there's no drainage issues. And you're checking for signs of standing water, which can be a breeding ground for mosquitoes that carry diseases. So you want to also be looking at that. You want to make sure that you have all the correct documents for the house. You want to make sure that if there is an addition on the house, that there is a permit for that addition. You want to make sure that everything is being done the way that they should be done so that when you do close on the house and then you want to sell the house 2-3 years down the road, that you're not running with issues, that you can't close because you didn't deal with the issue. So these are some of the things that I want you to pay attention to when you are buying a house, especially in the Tampa Bay area. I want you to make sure that you are looking at all the things that need to be looked at before you close on that house. You have to be very diligent about what you're doing and how you're doing it so that you don't end up doing something that you regret. You don't end up with buyer's remorse. Water stains, look for those. Sunken floors, look for those. Moldy smells, man. Moldy smells. If you walk in the house and it smells of mold, I don't care what the seller says. There is mold somewhere. Right? And how people say there's no smoke without fire, right? You walk into that house and it smells musky. It smells like, whatever. If it smells like that, it probably is that. So if you smell mold, dive deeper. dive deeper into it. If you sense, if you do your inspection, that's why your inspection period, I always believe in maximizing your inspection period because it is your due diligence period. And this is the time you can really go back and negotiate with the seller if you wanted to, but this is your opportunity to decide, or to find out if you're buying a lemon or you're buying the real thing. That's why it's so important, even now more than ever, to not buy a house sight unseen. You want to be there, walk it, touch the walls, feel for yourself to make sure that you're making the right decision. If the mold is sneaky and it is very expensive and it's dangerous. The other thing I wanted to really tell you, a huge red flag, is when the seller offers to give you their home inspection. They don't want you to do an inspection. They want you to shorten your inspection period because they've already done an inspection and they fixed all the issues and the inspection is clean. Here, take a look at their report. Don't do that. Remember, the inspector that they hired them. They're working for them. And I'm not saying that inspectors are shady. I'm just saying they're working for them. So you want to get your own home inspection. So you are going into this thing with all the knowledge that you need about everything that you need before you close on that house. So seller offers you the home inspection. No, thank you. I will get my own. Seriously, guys, unless it's a brand new house, 7 days is really, I mean, in 2020, houses were selling like hotcakes, and, everybody would, and their mama were trying to get a house in 2 days, so you had to write crazy offers. But currently, right now, I don't see the need to write crazy offers, right? I don't see the need for me to write an offer with a 5 day inspection period, knowing good and well that my clock starts ticking the minute the seller signs on that line and we are on the contract. The minute we have an executed contract, the clock starts ticking. So I am not going to do a 5 day inspection, especially for a first time home buyer who's really just doing everything they can to get that house. I want to make sure that when they go, they get their keys and they go to bed at night, that they're comfortable and that they're content with the decision that they make. Again, 3 to 5 days is not enough time for you to do an inspection. You have to slow down right now and make sure that you're getting this thing right the first time. And you don't want to buy problems. I mean, who does that? Nobody wants to buy somebody else's problem. I don't think so. I don't know about you, but I don't want to buy people's problems. You can't really take the house on a test drive, right? So you want to make sure that when you're doing that's the only time you have. You want to be doing it well. So if you are house hunting in the Tampa Bay area, I am a licensed real estate agent in the area and I love helping people. So you can reach out to me at any time. My number is on the screen somewhere or in the description somewhere. Feel free to reach out, send me a text, send me a DM, send me an email, give me a call. I am here to help make the journey of home ownership smoother and easier for you. So give me a call anytime. I'd be happy to help you. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you in the next video. Bye.